Mauritius is one of the few countries in the world where you'll hear two major world languages spoken fluently, English and French. But how did this small island in the Indian Ocean become so bilingual, and why does language play such an important role in everyday Mauritian life? Let's start with the basics. The official language of Mauritius is English. It's the language used in parliament, government documents, and most formal communication. But in practice, French is just as common, maybe even more so. Turn on the TV or pick up a newspaper in Mauritius, and there's a good chance you'll find French being used instead of English. So how did this come to be? The answer lies in history. Mauritius has changed hands many times over the centuries, and each colonial ruler left behind a linguistic legacy. The Dutch were the first Europeans to colonize Mauritius in the 1600s, but they didn't stay long. In the early 1700s, the French took control and ruled the island for nearly a century. During this time, French became the language of administration, culture, and daily life. Even after the British took over in 1810, French remained deeply rooted in the population. Under British rule, English became the new official language. But rather than replacing French, the two languages began to coexist. The British administration used English, but the local elite and media continued using French. Schools taught both. Newspapers printed in French stayed popular. Over time, Mauritians got used to switching between the two. Today, this bilingualism is part of the national identity. English is used for official purposes and education, while French dominates in the media and cultural life. Walk through a market or sit at a cafe in Port Louis, and you'll likely hear people casually switching between English, French, and another language, Mauritian Creole. Mauritian Creole is actually the most widely spoken language on the island. It evolved during the Colonial era, when enslaved Africans and laborers from different regions needed a way to communicate. It's based largely on French vocabulary, but with a unique Mauritian twist in grammar and pronunciation. Nearly everyone speaks Creole at home, regardless of their ethnic background. But what's remarkable is that most people in Mauritius grow up using all three: Creole for everyday conversation, French in media and informal writing, and English in school and government. This multilingual environment creates a kind of language agility that's rare in many countries. And it's not just limited to these three. Thanks to Mauritius's diverse population, you'll also find people who speak Hindi, Urdu, Tamil, Hakka, Cantonese, and more. Many Mauritians grow up with multiple languages in their household, making the country one of the most linguistically rich societies on Earth. So why is Mauritius so good at English and French? It's because both were embedded over centuries, one through French cultural influence and the other through British administration. Instead of choosing one and discarding the other, Mauritius embraced both. And with a population that's used to switching between languages every day, bilingualism isn't just normal, it's essential. In fact, many Mauritians are not just bilingual, but trilingual or even more. That gives the country a competitive edge in education, tourism, business, and diplomacy. It also means that visitors to Mauritius often find it easy to communicate, whether they speak English or French. In the end, Mauritius didn't just inherit two global languages. It mastered them. And in doing so, the island turned linguistic diversity into one of its greatest strengths. Thanks for watching. Do you know these languages?